Ho ho ho! Hi friends, it's Emily. I'm back and I have a change of scenery obviously because it is now my favorite time of the year, Christmas time. I did not help put this tree up. I was doing physics homework. Gotta love college. College is also the reason I have not been making any new videos, which I apologize for, but all is well and forgiven because I'm back. And today I'm going to be talking about my recap for NaNoWriMo. So for those of you who don't know what NaNoWriMo stands for, it stands for National Novel Writing Month, and the goal of the whole thing is for the whole month of November, you are supposed to get to 50,000 words or finish a novel. This was my third year participating? Yeah, third year, and I did it in 2015 and 2016. Someone told me about it on Tumblr like in 2012, but November had come and gone at that point, and I told myself, I'll do it next year. Spoiler alert, I didn't. I forgot all about it, but in 2015, my dear darling friend Amanda texted me, and she was like, I really want to do NaNoWriMo this year, but I don't want to do it alone, so you in? And I was like, sure. Like, my friends suck, I have no social life. I'm at home all the time, why not? That was the first year I did it, and the first year I also won. This was what I did for NaNoWriMo 2015. This was Tempted. It was a story that I had started and abandoned, like I do with all of my stories pretty much. It was like 104,000 words, give or take a few. And yeah, I actually got it bound. That was like one of the prizes that year, and I was like, I'll take that. 2016, last year, I did not win. I was gung-ho and like super psyched. I didn't know what I wanted to do that year, and I think that was my problem. I decided last minute, October 31st, I was like, I finally know what I'm doing, and I stuck with it for about 20,000 words and just gave up. It wasn't happening. But in my defense, I had also written a book right before that, and I had published it October 22nd, so I was coming off of another book, and I think I was just so burned out. I was like, I can't find the words to type. So this year I was like, okay, I'm not gonna fail like last year. If anything, I just want to say I did it again, because it is a very, very fulfilling experience. I used to be really good about, writing every day, and for the last few years that has just not been the case at all. And it's always been a dream of mine to write a book, and in order to write a book, you have to actually write, and something about that just didn't click in here, I guess. And so I always put it off. And so NaNoWriMo is definitely a very stressful event, but it was very good for somebody like me who needed that every single day. I hadn't written anything this year, really. The last time I sat down and wrote was in June. So I was really rusty, but I was, I was ready. So what did I write for NaNoWriMo, you ask? I rewrote a story that I started back when I was 14, so almost 6 years ago. It was a story that I wrote online, and I was really passionate about the story. Everyone that I'm internet friends with to this day is like, when are you gonna write the book version? If you're a real OG, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to say names. I was always putting it off. I was there'll be a better time to write it. There will be a better time to do this. And finally, I was in the shower and the epiphany washed over me, and I was like, you know what, Emily? There's never gonna be a right time. You just gotta do it. So I sat down and I was like, you know what? This is the year I do the big kahuna. Let's do this thing. So the story was originally 44 chapters long. And if I didn't hate myself before, I was also gonna go back and rewrite 20 extra chapters, because I was taking the story that I had written and completely changing everything. So I was just really in to kill myself, this NaNoWriMo. That was my goal. Not get to 50,000 words, not finish the thing, but to literally want to fling myself out of a window by the time December 1st got here. One of the biggest challenges that I had this month was sitting down and getting words to form in my fingers and get onto the Word document. I usually have no problem rambling, as you can see. That's why I started a YouTube channel. And usually I can just write and the words will come out of me and all is well. And because I hadn't written anything since June, it was so hard. I struggled every single day to get to the target count. And every single day, in order to get to 50,000 words, you're technically supposed to write 1,667 words a day. And if you look at that math, you know, you should get to 50,000 words by November 30th. Well, me being the overachiever perfectionist, I was like, I want to do like 3,000 words a day, because back in 2015, I was literally writing like 3,000, 5,000 words a day, because again, no social life, senior year, you don't do anything, you know, I was like home free. And this year I had like a bunch of assignments and wanted to come home every day and go to sleep when I got back home from class. I started writing November 1st, and I just texted my friend and I was like, I hate everything I've written. I hate every single word that I have written so far. And I got about 3 chapters in and I was like, I hate this. This is the worst thing I have written ever. And that's like excluding all of the terrible things I wrote in like elementary school. Like, it was just awful, and I was beating myself up a lot over it. My friend was like, just keep going. Just don't look at it. Like, just start a new Word document if you have to. Don't look at it. But that was like probably one of the biggest lessons that I learned while doing NaNoWriMo, was to just like spit the words out. I can edit later, which have mercy on my soul. Just writing and not going back and fixing things was a problem for me, because I like for things to be perfect. I like to sit and read what I have written and be enamored by it, and I just wasn't. Another challenge that I had was how I planned things out. I don't think I planned accordingly, and I think a lot of that has to do with the story that I wrote, but I set myself up for absolute failure this year. I was like, okay, this is gonna be 56 chapters long. And that is a terrible idea. It's an absolutely terrible idea. And I knew it was a terrible idea, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to conquer, I'm gonna beat the odds and do it. And did I? No. I got to like chapter 24 and I did a lot of skipping around. If I could hop in a time machine and go back to October 31st, I would tell myself, you are setting yourself up to fail. Don't do it. But of course I did. Another challenge I had was writing in a linear fashion. When I've been writing, like for the last 2 or 3 years, I've gotten away from the habit of writing things in a linear fashion. So like starting with chapter 1, write all of chapter 1, end it, go straight to chapter 2, and so on and so forth. And I've gotten out of that habit. I've been writing, you know, snippets of one chapter and then parts of another, and then coming back and filling in the space. And for me, that works because it's how my muse works sometimes. I just need for things to skip around, because if I don't, I get very disinterested very quickly. And for this, once again, setting myself up for failure, I was like, no, I'm gonna write in a linear fashion. I was like, I'm gonna go back to my roots and just write from beginning to end. And that doesn't always work, because I would be writing like a scene. One in particular that comes to mind was I was writing like a pool scene, like everyone was out at the pool, like having a great old time, woohoo. And I was trying to write one part of it, and I was like, the words are not coming out of my fingers. What do I do? And my friend was like, just skip it. And I was like, skip it? I've got to write all of this. And she was like, no, just skip it. And so if I had told myself that on November 1st, I would have saved myself a lot of heartache. A lot of heartache. Clearly, everything I did this year was just wrong for me. Looking back at it, I'm like, Emily, why did you do this to yourself? But we never know until we're on the other side of things, I guess. My motivation for NaNoWriMo changes every single year. Who is cutting their grass? I'm trying to film a video! When I first did it in 2015, my biggest motivation was probably just knowing that I had that story to escape into. I went through a lot of really complicated things that November. Like to this date, that November was probably the hardest month of my life without NaNoWriMo. And then you throw in NaNoWriMo and it just got even harder, because it is an undertaking. It really is. I look back now and I'm like, how did I manage that? But I did. 2016, my motivation was if I write, I can lay in bed. And this year, my motivation was definitely the community of writers that I have fortunately been surrounded with. My friends Amanda, Claire, Drew, who should be a writer even though she's not. All of my friends that I've made online because of this story, They have been like the best support system in the entire world. I do not think I would have been able to get as far as I did without them. Every time I was like, okay, this sucks, they were like, no, it doesn't. Listen, if we appreciated the version of the story you wrote when you were 14 and is absolutely cringe, this will be fine. I was really like influenced not to beat myself up by them, so you know, I thank them every year at the end of NaNoWriMo because it means a lot to me that they put up with random text messages at like all hours of the day. Everyone that I named and everyone that I didn't name and I'm forgetting because I'm trash, I love you. Thank you for being my friend. Even in like the hardest time of the year. It's especially not fun to put up with me when I'm writing, but you do. And I love you so much. Mwah. Another big motivator was something that I did not ever foresee happening. One of my favorite movies, books, fandoms, whatever, was The Hunger Games. And I will happily do a whole series on my love for The Hunger Games. It's like in my video notes, right? Like reread the books, watch the movies, talk about it. If you want to see that, even though that fandom is dead and gone, let me know in the comments or like this video. I got to talk with my love of my life, Jackie Emerson, who played Foxface. I have been a fan of her since the movie came out. I absolutely adore her, and my friend Claire met her at Disney right before NaNoWriMo started, and I got to FaceTime and talk with her, and she is just the loveliest, most radiant human being I have ever talked to in my life. Knowing that that dream of mine when I was 14, that dream had come true now, I was like, why don't I make more dreams from when I was 14 come true? That was like the biggest push for me, honestly, was talking to her. So Jackie, if you're watching this video, which I'm sure you're not, but if you are, I love you to the ends of this earth and back, and can we please be best friends? So highlights and low points of the month. One highlight was definitely writing with my friends. It's nice knowing that you're not alone, and if you ever do NaNoWriMo, or just like write a novel in general, do not do it alone. That is my biggest advice. It sucks writing a novel by yourself because I always want like feedback and opinions and help when I'm pulling my hair out, and having a community of writing friends or just like really awesome friends will save your life. Amanda and Claire both did it this year with me. We would have like late night discussions about our stories. Claire FaceTimed me one night and we tried to write together, and it ended up turning into one of the greatest FaceTime calls I've ever been on. We did a dramatic reading of some of my old stuff, which was priceless. One low point of this year though was the fact that this was the first year I have ever been swamped with schoolwork while doing NaNoWriMo. I had so much homework, I had so many meetings, I also had work, and I was just like, there's not enough hours in the day for me to write. Like, when am I supposed to do this? If you're like me, you need music to write to. I am a firm believer that listening to music that inspires you while you're writing makes for an all-over better story. I listened to a lot of music while writing this. I needed every song I could get my hands on. Two of the biggest musical inspirations was Kelsey Ballerini's Unapologetically and Taylor Swift's Reputation. I was just like, God bless these two women for giving me the quality writing music I asked for. I will also make a playlist of every single song that I listened to while I did NaNoWriMo in the description box below on Spotify, so you can listen to the music that I wrote to, stressed to, potentially shed some tears to. Finally, where to from here at the end of the month? I wound up winning NaNoWriMo this year. According to Ye Ol' Laptop and the NaNoWriMo website, I finished with 65,607 words. Was it as much as my previous endeavors? Wink, wink. No, but I did way better than I did last year. I finished nearly 40,000 words ahead of what I did last year. I technically won. I did not finish the first draft at all. According to like the planning on my phone, I'm only about halfway through, which of course, like I've said throughout this whole video, I set myself up to fail, but I did get a lot farther than I thought I would. I have tried to rewrite this story before, 2 different times. Both times I failed. Kind of glad I did, because now like looking back at them, I'm just like, why did I write this? This is awful. The biggest accomplishment for me this year, I don't think was, you know, necessarily just winning NaNoWriMo in general, but was finally proving to myself that yes, I can sit down and I can write this story that I have wanted to share for years and years now with other people. I can write the story. I can do it. And that's like the thing about NaNoWriMo that I love the absolute most. As for moving forward, I would love to finish the other half of the draft and then go back and destroy it, completely tear it apart, probably rewrite it. The end game I want is to get this book published and on a bookshelf. Will it happen? I don't know. It just depends on some things. I've had, crazier things happen to me, so I'm sure it's not too far off in the realm of probability, but I know it's gonna take a lot of work. But as I've proved to myself, I can definitely do it. So who knows, maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, that book will be on the bookshelf in Barnes & Noble like I have always hoped and dreamed it would be, and we'll have come full circle, which would be amazing. That is all I have for today. I know it's a talky video, but I like doing these kinds of videos, and I hope you guys enjoy them just as much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I make new videos whenever I want to ramble. I will see you guys very soon. Bye!
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Drink, swalla la la. Drink, swalla la la. Swalla la la.